We have to go beyond the brave. Alright, so what I didn't get to talk about so far is what we're actually expecting in Beyond the Brave. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So, Nordics are something that when you produce a set with the name Beyond the Brave, one of the things that I initially thought about was Nordics. Now, we have now had confirmation that the set's cover art is going to be dedicated to Joey and Red Eyes, which is fine. It's actually kind of a pretty interesting topic of conversation to be able to kind of see, how these, powerful monsters are kind of coming along. Now, you gotta remember, Nordics did have a set way back in the day, and something that Yu-Gi-Oh's been doing is they've been retraining certain other aspects of, certain parts of the game. Hence the Sacred Beast and Chaos Origin. I would not be surprised to see Nordics stepping in here in the next couple of sets and just receiving retrains on Odin, Loki, and Thor. Because truthfully, at this point, those guys do need some sort of viable, better forms. Now, I don't know if you can do it all in 10 cards, but I would either love to see them become generic synchros or love to see just a good, strong power-up across the board here, because Konami can definitely do it. Konami can definitely give you something to make these cards actually become viable. And honestly, I'm a Nordic fanboy. I really am. If they can make Sacred Beast become viable, I think Konami can do anything enough to the point that you could pull up a massive retrain here and be able to pull this off. So here's the hoping with that. Now, revisiting of the older themes. One of those is, what more can we do for Mind Shuffle? Now, Mind Shuffle, as you currently know, is already a massively powerful deck in the OCG. I gotta give it to Konami, man. Not only did you somehow manage to bring Yugi's deck into the actual meta spotlight, but you not only did that, but it's very competitive. The deck, you've given it all the proper tools, and you've somehow managed to focus in on a trap card that allows you to not only constantly search, but you're allowed to rotate between the two strong boss monsters. Now, I don't think that we're going to get a new Black Luster Soldier or a new Dark Magician of Chaos. I don't think that that's possible. What they could choose to do is just print one other possible support card on the side. Maybe something else for the Griffaribo to be able to set. There is always, like the topic of, can we give a deck more spells to be able to kind of interact and turbo through? And I don't really think that that's such a bad topic of discussion, but the question is, what did Yugi use in the manga that would be applicable here? Giant Soldier of Stone, possibly? I think that would be really cool, just to think about what we could do. But depending on how this block goes for these cards, they do have to still assign 1 to 2 other things. So that's always been the pattern that they've done, from the previous sets forward. You'd get one set and then they would trickle in maybe 1 to 2 other cards to kind of try to spice up the theme, at least to get it a little bit more competitive, to, make it look like you're doing decently well. So time will tell on this one. I am kind of excited, though, for, more support for that deck. And then there's Blitzclick. Blitzclick has been truly one of the decks that feels like you're missing the most from it. And the reason why I say that is, when they produced Blitzclick, I think Konami's logic was, hey, this deck will be a good competitor. You're effectively able to react to everything that the opponent does. But at the same time, it felt like you're just missing 1 to 2 little extra pieces. And that's why I do hope that Blitzclick isn't effectively done. This becomes like the topic of, can the previous support from Chaos Origins into the Brave set get that 1 to 2 extra cards to actually make it competitively viable. And I mean, we've already seen Blitzclick performing on a decent number in the background, that the deck is semi-able to kind of keep up with things, but it just needs, just give it a little bit more gas, Konami. Just give it a little bit more that the deck can actually keep up with. You've already given the deck a Pobbler, which is 9,000% more support than I feel like we expected to actually see at this point. But, you know, when an archetype's getting a Pobbler and you're like, oh, hey, you know, we've done it. We've washed our hands with it. You know, we've done effectively the most that we can to try to pump up a set. Well, you know, it's that. But one card is all Blitzclick needs. It sounds like such a topic of, like, you know, does the deck get better? If you are feeding it the appropriate gas that the deck needs to really boost itself up, then you can do well. But I guess this also becomes the, hey, if you're getting Chaos Origins, make sure you have Blitzclick. All right. Now I wanted to talk about the adventure package here. So You've created a set called Beyond the Brave, and you can't tell me that you're not going to have people looking at the adventure package and going, can we actually do something with this? Can we actually power us up? Previous set, we got Phantom Knight support, which is an anime theme, technically. Your trade-off with the adventure token stuff is it's not anime themed. It was an original idea that Konami had put into one of the deck build packs to provide power-ups for that set, which was kind of cool, but we kind of return back to the topic of conversation here. You know, you made a set called Beyond the Brave. You have to give something to Adventure at this point to really power it up. Now, remember, Adventure is you've been transported into another world. You know, the Adventure token is supposed to be the embodiment of you. And you're basically going on your adventure to, you know, hack and slash through the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, you get multiple different equip cards and things like that. But we don't really have a lot of lore for that story yet. They've shown like little bits and pieces, but like the world of the Brave token, I think Konami backed off of because it was too generic. And that's kind of like one of the sad parts, right? You manifest yourself and then you're like, Synchro Shokan! And you just like convert yourself into something else. Or, you know, suddenly you're turning into like a Phantom Knight support card. And the only thing Griffin Rider is providing to you was like a safety net of negation. So like, I get it. I do. I get that like the lore might feel a little bit off in that department, but we'll have to wait and see. My fingers are absolutely crossed for adventure support because we need it. And then of course, heroes. You made a set called Beyond the Brave, and Neos is the literal poster child of this. You know, he's got the muscles. He's like, yeah, flexing. He's like, yeah, I can do anything. More than anything right now, I think people want to see Neospatian retrains. We do want to actually see like the Neospatians actually becoming a little bit better off. Now, the fact that you've chosen to do Joey does lock us into the fact that, you know, we might not be seeing a, you know, hero set for a little while, unless you're just going to go through all of the mangas and start picking different sets. But I don't really think that that's going to be the case here. I think we're going to be on this consistent stay in DM era for a little while, power up the characters, and kind of see, you know, where we are going to go with the 30th here and the celebration. I will say that, like, yes, heroes will be a topic of conversation for this, but we need to be very patient. We need to, you know, see where we're going to go. Heroes, I'm sure you guys would love 10 brand new powerful cards to bring, you know, these guys up to speed a little bit more. But the reality of the situation here is we're going to have to wait and see. You know, we need to, you know, see what Konami has planned here so that we can make that leap and make that topic of conversation and see what more Beyond the Brave has to offer. But I do truly think that this set has so much cool potential about it. Like, I'm more excited for this than Chaos Origins, and that's because the lore just has me so in with this. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back there in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.